My camera. How about them Giants? How about them Giants? How about them Giants?
What's up, Giants fans? What's up, Rush family? Welcome to another edition of New York Giants Rush. As you can see, the King is not here tonight, so he's left the Joker and Nails, Carb Crush, in charge to run everything tonight. So, without further ado, well, we know what's up.
We'll miss the fireworks.
There won't be any fireworks.
And here we go.
And joining me to my side, let's not forget, here we go.
Coach Demos, he is the man. Well, the Captain Toughen Up is over here giving themselves a beer bath.
What's up, Chris? How we doing, man?
What's up, Sean? Long time. Nice to do the show with you.
Yeah. We're going to have some fun. The adult is away, so the kids are in charge, right? Is that how it works tonight?
That's right. Yeah, he's taking his son some college trips, so he let us run the show. So big mistake by him. We're going to have
right?
Have a lot
I
of
know.
fun.
It might be the most watched show tonight, actually, when you think about it, right?
Yeah, it might be. We should have told more people he wasn't coming on.
Right?
No Craig. Just joking.
Yeah. We love you, Craig. We love you. But we're going to have some fun tonight, and we're going to put up big numbers. Everybody's going to be watching and participating, more people be on. So it's not just Chris and because here we go.
You can't handle the truth.
We're going to see what
Michael.
Truth brings tonight. We're going to see what he brings tonight.
Sorry about the delay, guys. Man.
All good, man.
No,
You're on
you're
time,
good.
Michael.
You're here now. You are here now. So we'll it's going to be interesting. It's gonna be interesting.
Hey.
No, we actually just got started. So you missed my intro, Chris's intro. That's it. So you're on perfect time.
Welcome, Michael. Welcome. Everything worked out at work. You're good? You ready to roll?
Yeah. I had to go on the golf course and handle something real quick.
Okay.
But everything's good.
All right.
All
Good to hear.
Well, nice. We got people rolling in. I don't see any comments. Let's go. Let's get the comments going here. Come on, people.
Yep.
Come on. All right. So anyway.
Yeah.
No, Chris, go ahead.
Guys, we're 4 weeks out from training camp. Is that unbelievable? I mean, you got it, and everything is early this year. So it's usually, that maybe around the 28th or so training camp, 27th. But boy, man, it's almost a week earlier this year, the way the schedule lines up with the calendar. So that's good stuff. Yeah,
we're getting closer. It's like, it's like kids at Christmas right now, right? We're getting ready to training camp coming. It's about time. We got a lot of excitement, got a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of things that we'll have a better understanding about in a couple of weeks. And I know, Chris, you had some things you want to talk about. We'll kind of get into those first. I think we'll touch on the things you want to talk, and then we'll get into the meat of some drama that, Truth can actually, we'll see if Truth and I have a little battle tonight or not. We'll see.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you right off the bat, one of the things that I'm thinking about when it was announced last week that the Giants and Jets are going to have back-to-back joint practices. The first day on the 12th of August in Florham Park, and then the Giants go to back to East Rutherford. So to me, when I look at these joint practices, guys, these are more important than the preseason games. And the reason is, and I know we all figured this out, is because you have so many 2s and 3s playing in those games, guys that are going to get cut that are just they have to have bodies on the field because a lot of the ones are only playing a couple drives. But at these joint practices, because they're controlled, man, I love it. And me and Craig went last year. We saw Detroit and the Giants. Yeah. And, boy, when they get the offensive, defensive linemen on the field together and they're really mashing it up, and then you see the one-on-ones in the secondary with coverages with the wideouts. I mean, it's controlled, which is great because of injuries, but you do see a mano-a-mano, guys really going at it one-on-one. And the intriguing part, and I'm going to put it out there right now, I think how Evan Neal plays in those two joint practices against a pretty good stout defense with the
Yeah.
Jets. I think that's going to dictate whether he rolls into game one as the starter. So I think you look at that as a few positions. You know, I know they threw out last week, right? We heard Banks. Hey, it's not giving him the job. Flott's going to have a shot. So that's another, position to watch in those joint practices with Flott and Banks to see who fares better. But I'm looking forward to the joint practices.
It'll be interesting to see. So he's been doing a lot of left guard though. So is Runyon ready to go? Is Runyon going to be ready to go? Is he going to beat out Runyon? That's the interesting thing. Or are they going to look him at right guard? Because again, in OTAs, he's been mostly at left guard from what I've heard, right? So it'll be interesting to see. And then what if he does beat out GVR? What do they do with him? Is he put him in a competition with Schmitz at center? Because GVR looked pretty good at center last year too. So I think competition is great. With Flott against Banks, is going to push people. Truth, what do you think? How do you feel about these joint practices with the Jets?
Oh, no, I love it. I love it, and you're going to see a lot of plays, a little pushing, shoving after the plays. I like it. I like when they do that with the Jets. I don't know what's the status on Runyon. Why he's missing games? Why is he out?
Well, he had that surgery last year, so I think they're taking it easy with him during OTAs. So it'll be interesting to see if he's ready come camp. Neighbors wasn't doing anything in OTAs either. They were there, but there was nothing kind of going on.
And you know what you'll think about with Runyon? If he's not ready, they can put him in that PUP list and remove him, and that saves him a roster spot. So don't be surprised. Maybe he goes on the PUP list for a short time. But from what I heard last week, if it was training camp, he might have been ready to go. It's just there's no contact in these things, and there's no reason to rush him right now, or any of these guys when there's no contact.
No, not at all. Get him ready for training camp, and even training camp, take him slow there too. That's fine. Right. There's enough. I'm not worried about him at all. But I do. Again, I think the competition will be good for a lot of people. I mean, listen, we're going to talk about some other things later, but just real quick, the word out there is Jalen Hyatt said he's coming in at 190 pounds. He's 190 pounds right now. Like that's big. That's like 20 pounds heavier than what he was last year. And I think. Will we see the Jalen Hyatt that everybody kind of expected now? But I think that weight is going to be huge for him. I think that's what he was lacking. He won't get bounced around. So I was shocked when he put out there and said he's 190 pounds. So what do you think about that, Chris?
Wow, 190. So he was at one. We're thinking he was around 170-ish, early, like 172. So, That's a hell of a jump. I mean, if he didn't lose any speed, that's huge because we talk about his route running, but I think just as important and concerning was him getting off of press coverage, right? That's what we saw last year. He gets stuffed at the line. Now, it's hard to see when you're watching on TV, but when you did watch the All-22, you did see him. Yeah, he had a tough time off press coverage and just got rerouted. But I have confidence in Russell Wilson working with him during training camp as well. And he's been in the league a long time and knows a lot of tricks. He's worked with Metcalf and the other guys. So Baldwin and stuff. So I'm hoping Russell Wilson also, almost like a coach on the field for Hyatt.
Yeah. One, I think that joint practice will be important for Hyatt during that time too, because will he be able to block out there too? Because that's one of the things I truly believe that kept him off the field last year. He had trouble blocking as well. Trish, what do you think about the Hyatt, being at 190?
Well, again, playing that position, I don't know if it's going to help or hinder him in the season, like Chris said about the speed. I'm just going to wait and see what it does. I think last year, I don't know if it was Chris. I think Chris, you were on the show with me. We had a guest. Not going to reveal who that is, but he did mention the reason why he wasn't playing. Yeah. And had nothing to do with his speed, had nothing to do with his size, had a lot to do with between the 2 years, his ears. He just didn't know the playbook. Yeah. And so I don't know. If you don't know the playbook, it ain't gonna matter what he did.
Yeah.
I mean, this is his third year now in this system. He should have it down.
I think he will. I think he's motivated. I think he's happy about the quarterback room now too. I think he was really discouraged by the quarterback we had. So not excusing what he did or how he was, but I mean, we know you get somebody who you don't believe in and is frustrated with, and he's a young kid. Let's not forget that too, right? He's a young kid, and young kids make mistakes. We'll see if he learned from it, this year too. But I'm looking forward to the joint practices as well, Chris. Like I think they're going to be a little chippiness. You get to see what people can do, and just again, like I'll keep saying, there is more competition on this roster now, and that's going to make everybody better. Competition is good. So
Yeah.
Yep.
How do you, Sean? I know you watch a lot. Especially the receivers blocking downfield. What's your feeling on Hyatt in the running game?
He struggled. Again, that's why he wasn't. I mean, he was 172 pounds. That he didn't block very well. That's why other guys weren't on the field too on the offense. In this system, you got to be able to block. Like Daboll said it along. You can see it with other guys. That's why he prioritized Manhurts playing a lot more. Other guys playing more. Guys that can block are very important. So and knowing the routes. But I think again, if you're 190 and if he's really serious, and he has a quarterback that apparently believes in him, and has been talking about him, and so I think that's good. So we'll see. I just think he's got to mature, and if he has matured this year, then that'll be a big step for him, I believe.
And sometimes it takes longer for certain guys.
Yeah,
Sure.
it does. It does.
Mm-hmm.
So it's similar for him. So, well, I know you had some other points you wanted to bring up. We got a round robin going here tonight of points. We got a lot to cover, so let's get to it. What else you got for us, Chris? Bring the thunder, bring the fireworks.
Yeah, the other thing is, I'm going to say Evan Neal, and we just touched upon it before. I think Evan Neal during the training camp is going to be intriguing enough to see if he could solidify the guard position, whether it's left or right. Now, when you think of him at the left side, you would think that might be his most comfortable position just because in college, he did play a little right as well, but he did, dabble at guard, and left side was his natural side. Yep. But I think it all revolves around the injuries and Runyon. But I think if he can play both in camp and get him used to playing both, I mean, he's played right tackle for a few years now. So the right side, I would think he's used to. The fact, get him at left guard because he could be that missing piece, if they need to move the chips around at some point in the season.
Right. Even if you move Runyon over to right guard, right. If whatever works there, again, you make the team stronger if you're able to do that. So that's not bad. Truth, what are your thoughts with Evan Neal at guard and going into camp? And
it's big. I think it's big. I mean, it can really solidify that Giants offensive line. If he can adapt to the inside guard position and do really well, it's going to help that offensive line big time. It's going to give him, like you said, not only more talent, more depth in that offensive line. And that's a big question mark. Will they take it to the next level, that offensive line, with another year under the line coach? So that's going to be big.
Yeah, I agree. And he's going to feel more confident. Like if you're confident, we know, then you're going to play better. I know I did. Listen, we get it. It's OTAs. You can't make too much, but you can look at technique in OTAs. And his footwork looked pretty good. He actually made a nice little adjustment there. Kind of came off one guy and then slid back down. So you see some things that you hadn't really been seeing before. So again, like it is OTAs. It's got to transfer over to when, the pads are on and do other things. But if you look at technique, if you look at footwork, those are the things that can stand out. Now, can you do it when somebody else is in front of you? But I think it's going to come down to his confidence level. If he feels more confident, he's excited about being at guard, then I think that, again, is only going to help the team. If you have Evan Neal at guard and he's really – we know how good of a run blocker he is. Like, there's no doubt, right? So now how can he do in space with limited space against certain guys? Can he do what he needs to do? I think he can, but we'll see.
Yeah. And Sean and Mike, a big part of this, his progression is going to be Schmitz playing better at center. So he doesn't have to overcompensate and worry about Schmitz. I mean, it'd be nice if he can just focus on himself and not have to be concerned if Schmitz is getting blown up and getting pushed back, And
that's a big one, Chris. I mean, we talk about Evan Neal, and rightly so, that he's got to show something, but so does Schmidt. He's got to show something. This is his third year as well, isn't it?
Yeah, so, it is. Year 3 for him.
Yeah, so he needs to step up. I think Sean mentioned earlier, you got Van Rooten. He did quite well as the center in his short time. So it's a possibility that he could be that option if he struggles.
Yeah, and I don't think, and Sean, because you're a big Brasillo guy, even going back to the Raiders, I think Brasillo is going to have a short leash on these guys. If they're not performing, I think they're going to be shelved for a while. I don't think there's going to be a lot of time for them to sit and watch disaster, happen.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think now that Brasillo's in year 2 and you're in a little better situation, that he probably can have a little more say maybe in things to do that. But interesting. I also think like for JMS, like the consistency for who's next to him at guard can also help him also. Like
Right.
you got to remember that
True.
too, right? Like,
True.
so the same way we talk about other guys who was playing next to them, that center position is very important to have consistency. So, you know what the guy next to
Right.
you is doing, because you could be looking one way, worried about the, your right guard, and the left guard has an issue, but you're overcompensating for the right guard. So that could some things that could factor in.
Sure.
His base needs to be a little better. I get it. A little, better balance or whatever else, center of gravity. But I think he's got to get a little more nastiness to him. I think that'll help him. And again, he's year 3. He had the injury he was dealing with, right? So I think I think a lot of times we expect everybody to come in like some other people do. And it's rare that happens, right?
Mhm.
Like not every old lineman that comes in is going to be good right away. Yes, that happens, but it's not the majority of them that happens with. Some takes longer to develop. And again, I think the competition that's there with other linemen coming in, I think Marcus Bowe is going to help push people too.
Yep.
Like there are some things there where everybody's going to be on high notice of, well, somebody's gunning for my job. And that's what hasn't been there in years. And there's definitely that this year. So
Yeah.
Evan Neal's another one, right?
Mhm.
He's going to get better. He's going to make somebody else better. And even if he doesn't win it, whoever beats him out is going to be better because he's Neal's pushing him. So I like it.
Yeah, real quick on Schmitz. When he got drafted out of Minnesota, one of the things you heard, he was an awesome technician. The strength and power really wasn't his game. He was more of a finesse, technique was a big part of his game. Leverage. Yep. I haven't heard much in the offseason how he's progressed strength-wise in his strength and training. You hear about a lot of other guys, but it seems like Schmitz has been kind of quiet on the radar, unless you guys have heard something. I haven't heard much about
nothing.
Either putting on more weight or strength, because you normally hear that, and I haven't heard that much about.
The only 2 guys I heard about was Evan Neal, the guard, because that was the majority of what dominated conversations, and then I heard that Andrew Thomas is bulked up, and he's a lot more muscular than he was before. But there's not a lot of O-line that's talked about in the offseason, to be honest with you, other than Evan Neal. He was the guy that dominated the headlines,
and you know what?
There's but
for sure.
Yeah.
And there's another name, Schmitz, in the joint practices. Going up against the Jets front is going to be interesting. And even Darius Alexander during training camp, once the pads come on and they start hitting, it's going to be interesting to see how Darius Alexander, who's a rookie, handles Schmitz, and if Schmitz can hold it down against the
Again, that's the other thing too. You got guys on the Giants team that are going against each other, to make each other better. Again, it's a cliche, but iron sharpen iron, and that's what the Giants have now. So I like it. We'll see what happens. There's a reason. There's a reason to be optimistic. You got to be realistic as well. I get it, but there's reason for optimism, right? There is.
Yeah,
there definitely is.
You would think that Schmidt would be pretty good going into year 3 when he has to practice against Dexter Lawrence a lot, but obviously that hasn't helped him. So, got to see what he does this year.
Yeah.
Again, I think at times, again, Giants fans are a little, and understandably, they're a little hard on young guys coming to the league because we haven't won. So we want rookies to come in and make an impact right away. And again, that just doesn't happen on the majority of the bases, right? So I think a little patience with some of these guys. Year 3 is a year that some guys take, they make that turnaround. So I want to see what he does in year 3. And again, you work together. They're working as a cohesive unit. They're now 2 years, the same guys working together, second year under Brasillo. So and again, I'm not worried about the O-line. I know people talk about it, but I'm not worried about it. Like I think the quarterbacks are going to help make the O-line even better now too. So it's more
PSD with us Giants fans, because we just expect that. But you can see with the depth they've improved, and hopefully it shows.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. What else you got? Now we're going to turn to Truth, because I know Truth has got some topics he wants to talk about too. So
I do.
All right. So you want mine? You want the last one, or you want to?
Yeah, let's hit up the
let's
last.
hear it, Chris.
So I think this sometimes gets overlooked, the Giants' depth at the end of camp with roster cuts. And what I mean by that is how many, you see it every year with the Giants. They usually add about 3 or 4 guys maybe on that. And I remember a few years ago, they added 6 guys at the end of roster cuts after the 53 was set from other teams. So I'm beginning to look at the indicator for me is how many of the cuts at the end of camp of the Giant players that get cut end up on other teams. Because we've seen it before where guys get cut for the Giants and they don't end up anywhere. They're on the street until injuries happen. So if that's going to show me how good this depth is, and how difficult the cuts are going to be for the Giants, because they do have some depth this year for once.
Yeah,
and we've seen it every year get a little better, but this year is probably the best depth they've had in years.
agree.
So I'm really interested to see on these tough roster cuts and how many guys from other teams that the Giants are able to add because of our depth. So it might be one or two. When we've seen in the past, hey, Giants have added up to 5 or 6 guys, which is alarming from other teams going into week 1. So keep an eye on those roster cuts as the end of camp and how tough they are and where these guys end up on other teams on their 53.
I'll be curious to see if they add anybody, because I know there's been a lot of talk. They've been really impressed with a lot of the UDFAs that they sign. So unless like some like cap casualty happens or somebody big like that, I'll be very curious to see how many they try to sign from other teams. And then, like you said, I'm curious to see how many of our UDFAs or other guys we cut will go. I think you'll see more than what we're used to seeing there. What do you think, Truce?
Well, I think this is a year, an ongoing thing every year. You know, you're looking at when a team like the Giants and when they're going through these waivers and these cuts, there's a lot of good players that come through the wire. So it wouldn't shock me if you see the Giants make a lot of moves throughout training camp and until the final roster is done. They're going to see. We're going to see players who are pretty good players getting cut this year, like we do every year, and it wouldn't shock me if the Giants make moves like you said, like they did last year, Chris. It ain't going to shock me to do it again this year, not at all.
Where do you think they'd make a move, though, Chris? All right, Truce. Where do you think they'd make a move? What position do you think they'd try to go for?
Well, it all depends who's available when the cuts happen. I mean, look, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt looking to improve the trenches. That's the kind of player or philosophy I like, is to build the trenches up. Yeah. So if someone really good is available, either side of the ball, why not? Why not get the player?
Yeah. I wouldn't count on tackle because that's a coveted position, and those guys won't get cut. But I could see an upgrade at a guard position, maybe even a center. So I'd be looking at those 2 spots.
You never know. You see
as a backup, as a viable backup, where it might be just, hey, it could be a depth situation on another team. I mean, teams like the Eagles, Kansas City, they still have depth. So it could be Detroit. Could be a team like that where, you know what, they can afford to let a decent lineman leave because they need that roster spot somewhere else.
Yeah. Here's my bold prediction. Unless it's a big name or somebody that's a cap casualty that gets cut, I don't think the Giants are going to add many players from other teams that were cut. That's my
I would say prediction. 2. I'm gonna say 2. So that at 53 that gets announced on whether that's Sunday or Monday, I'd say maybe 2 get cut and then they add 2 more. So
and you're saying that, Chris, are you saying also there's no big names? Like Sean's saying?
It's hard to say. I mean, sometimes you get these salary cap deals, but I think they're going to be middle of the road depth pieces if they're added. A professional, a pro's pro, right? A guy who can slide in there with an injury type of player.
Yeah, I would say that, but I'm gonna go a little more, not necessarily an elite name, but somebody who is like that, a vet who's a name that's who they'll add. If it's not, I don't think they're going to add anybody. That's my bold prediction. I think they like their depth. I think they like what they have. And I don't know that – I think they're going to go with guys that are there. Again, unless it's some cap casualty that is somebody that's a definite upgrade, I think that's what they'll do. That's my take.
And just going on – John, thanks for coming to the show, joining us. Is there any other team that the Giants are more interested in their cuts than others? Well, we probably can name a few just off the Eagles, right? That's a big one. We always
a team that's good. Yeah, like you said, Detroit.
Yeah. Detroit, right? In the trenches,
City,
they're very good.
Maybe.
Yeah. Do you guys know if Brandon Sheriff is still out there? I know he's been a veteran. I don't know if he was picked up.
I haven't heard that he was picked up, but he could have.
Yeah, that could be somebody to keep an eye on down the line.
I mean, I think if they had an interest, they would have signed him already because I think he is still available. I don't know if somebody picked him up, but I mean, he's old now, right? Like, isn't he?
Yeah, he's probably be 34.
Yeah, so 35. I think the depth they signed, maybe. He's a name. I don't know if he's talented anymore, but he is a name people recognize. I just don't know what he has left, right?
I only say that because of injuries, right? You know, we're as much as we don't want injuries, we're going to have a couple in training camp. It just happens, man. There's going to be a few.
Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, that's of course the wild card, right? If there's injuries that happen. So I'm going to asterisk my statement by saying, yeah, if there's injuries,
Sure.
then that'll change who they sign. But if there's
100%.
if everybody stays healthy, yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, Chris, bringing the heat with some good topics. I like it. Talking about training camp. I mean, talking about joint practices, cuts, all that stuff that's right up your alley. I like it.
Big.
All right, Truth, what you get? Yeah, right. All right, Truth, what you got? What's your first topic? Let's
my
get the
first
fire
one
going here.
is kind of a concern.
Oh, okay.
I don't have faith. I really don't have faith in Shea Bowen. I worry that he's not going to use Abdul Carter in the right way. That's a big concern of mine. I think he might restrict him, almost like the way they almost did with Taylor, if you guys remember way back when, and they decided to just let him freelance, let him play on instincts, and then Lawrence Taylor became Lawrence Taylor. I just worry about that. I think with Carter, you gotta let him freelance. I think you gotta move him around. You gotta let him play in the dirt with his hand in the dirt. You gotta let him play standing up. You gotta let him go inside and go outside. I just hope he does that. I hope he doesn't restrict him. That's a big concern of mine.
Yeah.
Carter.
Well, here's what I'll say before Chris, you give your thoughts on that. I don't know if you saw the leaked video that came out. I think Abdul Carter actually leaked the practice video. They actually were using him that way. He was coming up the middle. He was blitzing up the middle.
I didn't see that. Good.
Yep. So that's other. So they're going to use him all over the field. There's no doubt about it. Like Bowen has said a number of times already, like you got 3 guys that you got to have in the field at all times. So they're going to have him on the field as much as they can, whether it's, hand in the dirt, lining up like they used to like tuck over, over the guard, outside, off ball, in coverage. They're going to have him all over the field because, and I'll talk a little bit more about Carter later, but that's a good point. Yeah, I go ahead, Chris. Give your thoughts on that, and then I'll finish up
on Shane Bowen. Yeah. So after the season, I was very dissatisfied with Bowen, and I just thought he had to go. Now, I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. I think he's got so many pieces in place. Listen, he's an NFL defensive coordinator. I would like to think he knows what to do when he has all these tools in his toolbox. Yeah. I'm looking at Andre Patterson. I'm looking at the defensive backs coach. I'm looking at Brian Dable, working all together in unison with Bowen and say, listen, this is what we have to do. Dable is pressing on Bowen to do these things, to utilize Carter everywhere. A la Micah Parsons, a la NASCAR with the Giants back in 2007. So I really do have some faith in Bowen that he's going to know and be creative how to use Carter. I believe he's going to. I mean, there's no other way around it. That's how you have to play this guy. You don't know how to know where he is.
Yep. Don't be surprised if they're going to use him to spy the quarterbacks like Jalen Hurts.
Well, I can see that.
Daniels.
Absolutely.
They're going to use him. He didn't have with all the injury. Now, again, look at earlier in the season. I've said this a number of times. That defense was playing differently early in the season than when they had the injuries and then they were losing and then the benching. Things changed later in the year. So I listen. People can say what they want. I know things are out there, but when you got 4th and 5th stringers out there playing, you're not going to be doing a lot of blitzing. You're not going to be doing a lot of different coverages and whatever else. And you're just out there doing what you can do, hoping for the best, trying to keep the game close, right? You're not going to do anything that somebody get beat, that's what he was doing. He was playing just to keep the games close, which is understandable. Now, year 2, that's where I want to see more, and I'm going to be more critical. But I think a lot of it had to do with injuries, where the season was going. So I think he's going to utilize him. If you listen to what he says, and again, he said a lot about Carter and Tibbs and all those guys. He's excited, man. And plus you got a Debo, you got Javon Holland. Like, you got guys now that you can do more things with because, let's be realistic, guys. Jason Pinnock was not helping anybody in deep coverage last year, right? It was just bad. So
and last thing, what I see with Carter, guys, a guard gets injured, a left tackle, right tackle gets injured.
Yeah, I
believe Bowen is going to focus on that spot. When that backup comes in, that's second man. I think that's where you put Abdul Carter, and you basically abuse that backup. So I think keep an eye on that. If any part of that offensive line gets dinged up with a team they're playing, I'm looking at Abdul Carter to take advantage of that next guy in and abuse him.
That's good. And truth, it's a good concern. It's a valid concern. I just don't agree with it. And the reason I don't agree with it is because we had the 32nd ranked offense in the NFL, and we're worried about our defensive coordinator. We keep in mind we're going to have an offense now that's going to keep our defense off the field. Guys are going to be less tired. You got more depth. You got things that are going to happen. So I'm wholly convinced that last year was not just a record, but how ass our offense was. When you're going 3 and out all game, and the defense feels like they got to pitch a shutout. And again, before all the injuries happen, that was my issue. So the fact that Bowen gets the hate he gets from this fan base, and Giants fans, I love you. You're great. You're passionate. But we had the 32nd rank, we dead last offense last year in NFL. Our quarterback was ass. And we're focused on our defense. No. Now, that toys. Well, yeah. Again, valid concern, but nah.
Well, that's one of my 3 concerns. The other 2 is offense. So,
all right. Yeah. Well, let's hear the next one. All right. See,
I understand the Giants' offense was anemic last year. They were horrible. They were not very good. You know, and I know we're ranting and raving about Russell Wilson, but he is older, and I'm not looking at what he's doing now and having any delusion that he's going to find the fountain of youth and be like he was during his time in Seattle. You know, it's a wait and see with him, and I have concerns with that. I do have concerns with Russell Wilson. I don't think he's a given. I know he's probably going to be better than Daniel Jones because, I mean, there's only one way to go but up if you're trying to compare Jones to anybody else. But, you know, everything works together. If the offensive line doesn't work well, Russell Wilson's not going to do well. You know, it all works hand in hand. So, you know, and I guess I'm where Chris was shell-shocked. All these years of Giants football, you know, it's hard to be positive. You know, every year I hear by praising how optimistic we are before the season starts, only to get deflated when the season starts. So, I mean, I have concerns about their offense big time. Trust me, I really do. You know, you realize if Tyrone Tracy was on the Eagles, he probably would have rushed for 1,500 yards last year.
I don't know if 1,500, Mike. Maybe 1,200.
Yeah,
maybe 1,200.
Maybe 1,200. I'm being sarcastic.
He could have done 1,200 a year with the Giants last year if he started the entire season. Remember, he didn't play a full season.
Yeah. If he started, I don't know if he would have done that, but what did he end up with?
He had like 900 last year.
Yeah, I don't know if you got 300 more. I don't know, but you know,
easily.
I have to see it now. I have to see them on the field perform offensively, because that is a big concern of mine. It really is. It is.
Oh.
Chris, what do you think? I mean,
I agree with Mike.
It's a valid concern, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Mike.
The 2 old guys agreeing with each other. The younger guy.
Only to this
you're like that young either, buddy.
I'm younger than both of you.
I guess technically speaking, you're right.
Talk about age. He's still a good golf pro at his age. Like, come on, man. You should be supporting the old guys.
I play other sports too.
That's great. Yeah, you know, with the offense, it's PSD with the Giant fans. We haven't scored, over 20 points in years. Like, this is the problem. We're just so used to and accustomed to this offense sputtering, sucking the life out of you, watching the game coming down the field only to kick field goals and the die in the red zone. But in terms of Russell Wilson, I mean, we forget 2 years ago in Denver, we look at that relationship that he had with Sean Payton, which wasn't very good, but he still threw for 28 touchdown passes, and that doesn't get mentioned much. I mean, he threw 20. The Giants haven't had a quarterback to throw for 28 touchdowns, and I don't know how many years. What, do you got to go back to Eli? I think Daniel Jones, his first year was 25, when he was bombs, when they just Shermer let him loose, despite the fumbling. But I'm very confident in Russell Wilson to do better than expected. What a lot of
what's expected of him, Chris? What do you got for numbers for him? What's expected?
I'm not saying he's going to throw 30 touchdowns, but I say he'll throw 25 to 27 right in there, maybe 30, 33, 3,400 yards, completions maybe 67%. Yeah, I think he's going to do a lot better than he did in Pittsburgh. Arthur Smith, as alluded to before, and we've heard this even from Craig and some other people, Arthur Smith wants to do it his way. Didn't let him, wants to, he's at that Pittsburgh run the ball, didn't let him audible much. And I think Dable, total opposite, has complete confidence in Wilson to let him, do what he needs to do out there. And if he has to audible. And I like the play action game with Russell Wilson. That goes overlooked. So I think play action, that's gonna definitely help the Giants offense. Because unlike Daniel Jones, who was pretty good in play action, he locked on. Where Russell Wilson, I think, could go through his progressions a lot faster and get to where he wants to put the ball.
Yeah. Well, I want to give a shout. I know Cole, we got in here Cole. James, I want to give a shout out to James. He's been coming over now, watching a lot. So we appreciate you tuning in every week with us, James. So yeah, James knows his stuff. So he was over from Online Big Blue, and I converted him over here now too. So he's a dual family guy. So he's now a Rush family as well. So we appreciate James. But I mean, here's my thing.
Welcome.
Listen, I'm well aware that Russell Wilson's not going to be Russell Wilson from Seattle, but even if he's a top 20 quarterback, which he can be, even if he's number 20, that is a huge upgrade from what we had last year. And we lost 8 games by 1 score or less. Now, again, I know it's a new season, new schedule, all that stuff. However, if they play the same and you're in 1-score games, the quarterback is the biggest difference, and I think he can make that difference. He's also more mobile than people are giving credit for. He can move around. He can do what he needs to do. He can scramble in the pocket. He may not be as fast as he was, but he understands how to manipulate a pocket still. And the leadership that he's going to bring and the excitement that he has from these young guys who are excited to play with a quarterback who's in the Super Bowl twice, was one stupid play call away from being a 2-time Super Bowl winner, is now here and knows what it takes to win. He's excited to be here. That you can't underestimate that stuff. The mental aspect of this is huge, in my opinion. So again, he's a huge upgrade from what we had. No doubt about it. Huge upgrade. So even if he's the number 20 quarterback in the league, we can win a lot of games with the number 20 quarterback in the league. There's no doubt about it, especially that defense plays what we're capable of. But I get the concerns. But again, Chris, you brought up a point. It's what I've said for weeks now, is that Arthur Smith and Mike Tomlin wanted to run the ball more. They wanted to run. Yeah. When you take an audible away from a quarterback, that's just ridiculous, especially somebody like Russell Wilson. No matter how corny he is, no matter what you think about him, he's a vet. He knows what he's doing. Dable is not going to take that away. He's going to be like, yeah, throw it deep. Please, throw it deep. If it's there, throw it deep. So I think that opens it up. That opens up the confidence in him. And the other thing towards late in the season, I'll keep saying this, is the George Pickens injury. And they didn't have their skill set in Pittsburgh. They don't have studs all over the field. They really don't. And when Pickens is not a stud, I hate to break it to people. I know there's a lot of Giants fans that love Pickens, but he's not a number 1 wide receiver. So that he was a number 2 receiver playing number 1. So that's what Wilson was. Malik Neighbors is head and shoulders better than George Pickens. Head and shoulders better. So now you have that working with him. The running game is pretty good. I think Theo Johnson's going to take that next step this year because they're going to the tight end university camp. All the tight ends are going out with Kittle and Kelsey. Yep, they're going to that. So I think that's going to be huge. So again, and I think the weapons are going to be good. And the fact that, again, Dable's not going to take his ability away to audible is going to be good. So I don't – you worry about his age. I get it. But I think there's more in Wilson's game. I don't need him to be Seattle Russell Wilson. I just need him to be much better than what we had last year, and I think he'll be that.
Yep. Sean, I'll take the age over a guy. I'll take the age with a guy that can go through progressions and actually, be able to what's the word I'm looking to process quick versus a kid with a rocket arm that's kind of confused and not knowing where to go with the ball. So enamored, with the big arm. I'm happy with Russell Wilson being able to go through those progressions and get it to the guy that's supposed to get the ball.
Yeah, exactly. You can't overlook they're playing the toughest schedule than any team next year.
And that's another reason why you need the vet in there like Wilson. He's seen it all. There's no surprises with Wilson. You're just going through a gauntlet of back-to-back games with some tough ones. But he's the right guy, right? He's been in Super Bowls. He's 10-time Pro Bowler.
On the right, he is the right guy who they have in their roster. Absolutely, I'm not going to deny that. He is the right guy. I'd rather have him over Winston.
Yeah, but I mean, in general, he's the type of guy that you want going through that schedule, that's seen it all. There's no surprises with him.
Yeah, no, and again, it's a valid concern. You should be thinking that way. It's just like you said, Chris, the pre-snap reads, adjusting blocking coverage too, getting them in the right play, doing those things. We haven't had that. We have not had that. So that's like a huge difference that I think people, and not saying you, Truth, that fans don't understand is how much, like, to be able to audible into the right play or out of something and understanding who's going to be where, and if a blitz is coming and all those things, and shifting line protection if they're going to allow Wilson to do that as well. Like, those are all things that make a huge impact in the entire offense. And he has that vet. He's seen so many things. You think somebody's going to throw something at him he hasn't seen yet? So I think, again, he's going to take those young guys to the next step. He's going to teach them some things. What they'll do, I don't know. But you're right. The schedule's tough. But on paper, 2022 was a disastrous schedule on paper too. So you just don't know, right? Like, you just don't know. I think that the two tough ones, Philly early on, no doubt about it. KC will be a nice litmus test. But Washington and Dallas, week 1 and week 2, I don't think those are guaranteed L's considering what we did against them last year. So, and we were there and they had Dak, they had all their weapons. So it'll be interesting to see. I think the quarterback makes a difference. But Truth, bringing up some good points, man. All right, what's your last one? Let's see if you can hit the trifecta here. Two beauties.
Well, I'm going to shift gears. While you were talking, I thought of something else that's been hurting the Giants for the last couple of years. Is not their run defense, and I know getting Carter could help them, but I'm looking more like the front line where who's gonna help Dexter Lawrence. I know they drafted Darius Alexander, and they did pick up some depth guys in free agency. I don't know much about those guys, about their ability as run stuffers. So that's a big concern of mine. The Giants really cannot go into the season giving up 130 plus yards a game. They really can't do that because it's going to eventually, when you talk about that, the stick's going to break. Too much pressure. It is going to break. The defense is going to break down if they cannot have a better run defense.
Okay.
So that's a big concern for mine.
Chris, what do you think?
I think this year's run defense, with the addition of Darius Alexander and some of the other guys that they brought in, also they brought in was the
kid from Dallas.
Yeah, well, he's going to be he's mostly going to be on the outside, mostly like a linebacker, edge guy, But with Alexander, even if you want to factor in DJ Davidson, Jordan Riley, but I think the addition of Darius Alexander, I think that's going to be huge. I think they're going to have a better rotation. And, you saw Darius Alexander in the Senior Bowl, just in the practices, just eat up everybody. Yeah, and he's hungry. He didn't want to wait in line, right? He wanted back in. So I think that's going to be a big difference. I think the Giants will have a nice rotation of fresh bodies, and I think that's going to help too. So it's going to be better.
Yeah, I threw out a name last week on last week's show, Ledbetter out of Jacksonville.
Okay.
He's 295 pounds. That's a big boy to help spell Dexter. I think also the addition to be able to keep the guys well rested will help that run defense as well if the defense isn't on his field as long. And then I keep forgetting the guy's name and somebody in there. So I'm in the chat, help me out. But the guy from Seattle,
Roy Robertson. Roy Robertson.
Is that what it is? Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a guy that I think he's another guy I think will help on the run. He's kind of Leonard Williams-esque with that. So not as talented, but he's in that kind of mold. And we know how well Dexter did with Leonard Williams next to him. So is he going to be a stud? I'm not saying to be a stud, but he's going to help that run defense. And keep in mind that now Nacho's probably going to be coming off the bench. So that's more depth. He was our starter last year, right? Yeah. So now that's another guy to help him with Elijah Chapman.
Hey, and another year with Chapman.
Hold on to him. You guys think they're still going to hold on to him?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. They need the depth at D-line. Yeah.
Elijah Chapman.
I don't think he won't be a cap casualty cut. I don't think so. Yeah, Chapman's another guy that year two can come in and do
I like Chapman.
Yeah. But don't be surprised if Golston also is rotating in more on the inside as well, not just on the edge. And again, that's a guy that can help win. The other thing that we're forgetting about the run defense is you now have Paulson Adebo and Javon Howland helping with that run defense, in addition to what Newman and Phillips were already doing. So we didn't have the guys last year. Like Banks was not good against the run. He was
Shawnee,
really bad.
Shawnee, I don't want my safeties leading the team in tackles. I don't want my safeties leading the team in tackles.
Well, I mean, he may not, but if he's coming up and he's playing closer to the line of scrimmage, they're getting him a lot more in the box, right? So it's okay with that in certain situations, because now that safety is more like another linebacker.
Right. And then they're vulnerable for the vertical. I want my linebackers to lead the team in tackles. If my linebackers are leading team in tackles, that helps me with the run defense. That's what
they should. I mean, with Okereke back healthy, McFadden had a lot of tackles last year too, so he should be good. But you need the help on the outside. That's where Giants were getting exposed, was a lot on the outside also, because your corners weren't able to help in the run support. Panek wasn't great in the run support last year coming up deep. So, but again, Phillips up there playing in that nickel, helping against the run, I think will be good. But those guys, again, you get a 295-pound guy in Ledbetter, who I said it last week, Jacksonville does not develop D linemen. There hasn't been a D lineman they've developed in I don't know how long. I can't remember the last time. You get Ledbetter with that size playing again, learning under Patterson. I think that's a guy that don't sleep on Ledbetter. I'll be surprised. I'll be curious to see what he does, is the best way I can say it. Yeah. And the other thing is these guys now up front will help keep our linebackers open. So McFadden, Carter, and Okereke can now roam a little freer than they were last year, is what I think. So, yeah, it's a good one. All right, way to pivot. What was your other one real quick? We won't go into it, but what was your third one?
I was going to talk about Scatterbo and how they're going to use him and what I want to see. But I thought the run defense was more important.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's a good one. That's a good one.
All right. So Sean, let's hit you up now. Let's put you in the hot seat. Are you ready?
Yeah. Put me in the hot seat. Let's go. Wait, hold on. Before we do that, before we put me in the hot seat.
Miss the fireworks.
There won't be any fireworks.
And here we go.
See, the King's not here, so I get to play my clip multiple times like he normally does with his. Yeah, that's how it works.
Fine, man. Absolutely. Why not, right? Because next week it all ends. You're going to get that's it. So, Sean, I know you got a couple or three. You have three great topics. I know you mentioned before, but go ahead. Hit us up.
Yeah, so we'll start with we're going to talk about Newman and his comments this week. Because I think here's the thing that I've noticed. So Newman had some great comments and here's a defensive guy talking about our quarterbacks. Number one, he sees something in Jackson Dart. Like he said, there's just something you can tell about the kid. Like there's just something that makes him a little bit different. And he also commented on Russell Wilson with the veteran, what he brings to leadership. So Newman's not the only Giants player to say this offseason. It's been a common theme. And so, yes, I'm bringing up with Newman because his was the most recent, but this has been a common theme is these guys are legit excited about our quarterback room. And it's not they're just saying it, because you could tell in other years guys are just saying it. It was a standard definition. These guys are saying things that are a lot more specific. They're saying it with a lot more enthusiasm. And I think the morale of the team, that black cloud that we've mentioned so many times, has been lifted. And these guys understand that, well, now they have a winning quarterback. Like, that's huge. Again, regardless if he's a top 10 quarterback, he doesn't need to be. The guys are excited. These young guys, it's what they needed. And you have veteran leadership around the team. But again, if somebody like Tyler Newman is understanding what these quarterbacks are bringing to the team and he's talking about it and other guys are talking about it, that's what you want to hear. That's what you want to see. And it's not just lip service. It's not just PR stuff. Like, you can tell the difference. There was legit excitement in him and other guys that have been talking about it. They understand. And if they're rallying around Jackson Dart too, because obviously he's the future, right? So these guys, you can see it. Guys know, you see a difference. And we'll talk about this with somebody else in a couple minutes. You can tell guys that are just different at practice. You know, even among great players, you know who stands out among great players. You just see it. You know it. Like, if you're there, you can understand it. So I love the fact that these guys are talking about our quarterback room. They're excited about our quarterback room. I love that these guys, Truth, you brought up Scatabo. These guys are off their rocker, and I love it. We got some psychotic guys, and I think it starts with there's leadership, and what Wilson's doing with taking guys out. He took them to dinner. He's rallying the guys around. He's talking about guys. He's bringing them up. Like, these guys are not used to that. No matter how much our previous quarterback worked and he was first in, last out, that's the standard thing. Wilson is going over and above these things that are making a difference with these guys. So I love that our defensive guys are talking about our quarterback room and putting it out there because, again, they see it. They know it. So I don't know. That's my thoughts. What do you guys got?
Yes, Chris.
Yeah, interesting, Sean. When you had Daniel Jones, you heard that he was a good leader in the locker room. He didn't have that voice persona about him that you saw on TV when you were at the game. But by all accounts, the team loved him, and he had that quiet leadership. But I'll tell you, with Russell Wilson, you get the sense that he's the type of guy that does put a team on his back. When they're down by 4 with a couple minutes left, you have a lot more confidence in a Russell Wilson bringing you down the field than you would a Daniel Jones. And I think it goes a step further where you feel like if somebody's not running the right route, not doing their job, I don't think Russell Wilson, I'm not saying he's going to embarrass anybody in the huddle, but I don't think he's going to have a problem voicing his opinion, in a coach-like manner where you saw Daniel Jones kind of just let it go and maybe they dealt with it after the game. But I feel like there's going to be more players on notice, right? It's going to be everything is going to be a little bit more under a microscope with Russell Wilson as the quarterback. No more free passes, and he carries the cachet of all these Pro Bowls, Super Bowl. So I'm getting the sense, and I know a lot of Giant fans, even going into training camp, this may not be the greatest team, but there's this quiet confidence about this team that with apprehension, right? A little apprehension, cautious optimism, but it just feels different. It just feels different.
It does, yeah. Truth, what do you think?
Well, I'll tell you, man. I don't know what it is today. I'm being a Debbie Downer here. I'm sorry. When I hear these guys talk, like Newman and them to the media about Wilson. I mean, what else are they going to say? They're not going to throw the guy under the bus. They're not going to say anything bad about him. They're going to say all nice things. So to me, that doesn't mean anything to me. To me now at this point, I want to see them perform on the field. I don't want to hear chatter. I don't want to hear any typical bullshit lines. I want to see them perform on the field. I guess I watched too much football I'm tired of it. Just go play the game and I guess do your talking on the field. And I know I'm being a Debbie Downer here.
He's get off my lawn tonight. Listen, it's a fair point, but there is a difference. I mean, listen, they're like I was trying to say earlier, they're not giving the PR statement. They're not giving hey, I got to say the nice things. Like, there's a clear difference with the way they're talking about Wilson. So
I look at it this way, Truth. They don't have to elaborate as much as they do. They can give a one-word answer, and that's the end of it. But the fact that they go on a little bit longer with their response shows me that there is some truth behind it. It's not just a bunch of BS. That's the kind of how I'm looking at it. So it's a little bit more of an extensive type of response, and they're once again, they don't have to give a one-word answer. So I'm holding faith that there's some truth to what's behind everything we're hearing.
Again, it's got to translate to the field. Don't get me wrong, but those things that are being said, when they were said about previous quarterbacks here, it was just kind of like there wasn't enthusiasm, there wasn't excitement behind it. It was just kind of like in defense, like these guys, there's just a different tone about it. I don't know if everybody can get what I'm saying.
You're picking that up. That's fine.
Yeah. Now, again, what will it translate to wins? We don't know, but I like the fact that they're enthusiastic about it, they're excited about it, because I think that'll help. It's just what they're going to do against other teams, which I think is good. So that's my.
And Sean, to your point, which will go a long way. And even if they didn't win the game, and you would think, I'd hope, listen, everybody, they got 20 weeks to work on Washington, right? Can you go into Washington and beat Washington? I mean, they got Jaden Daniels, but they're not some all-world team. And they should be able to go in there and make it a real good game. So you got 20-something weeks to prepare for them. But it would be nice on that first drive, don't kick a field goal. Come right down the field, Russell Wilson, and score a touchdown. So that would
would
just
be
set the tone for the season, for the game, and just give Giant fans a lot of confidence.
You know, the last 2
we're going to
years,
score some points.
Yeah, to your point, Chris, the last 2 opening seasons games, it looks like they weren't ready to play. You know,
Right.
Dallas to get blown out. Minnesota, they looked horrible. They
Even
got
the Brown
totally
game up until the
destroyed.
second half, they were
That's
sleepwalking
true.
right early.
Quarterback.
At least come
Yeah.
to play.
True.
Quarterback. Quarterback. Yeah. It's
Your game planning for 20 weeks got to be Washington. Come on, please.
Yeah, I think it'll be different. I think it'll be different.
Right
I mean,
now they're game
I
planning for Washington.
didn't view it as they weren't prepared to play. I viewed it as they got deflated when their quarterback sucked
Agreed.
ass in both those opening games. They're like, oh, yeah, that's where they got
It
deflated.
wasn't
I
just
don't
the quarterback that sucked ass, okay? It wasn't just the quarterback.
that was a
Especially against
huge one. When you
Dallas.
throw a pick six and throw
Especially
some
against
other
Dallas,
things.
it was a team effort. They were both sides of the field. They were horrible, both sides of the ball against Dallas. You know,
That was
then again,
that was the game
Minnesota,
Andrew
the
Thomas
defense
got
was
hurt,
horrible.
right? Was that the game Andrew Thomas got hurt?
Yeah, they were chasing out a blocked field goal, and they had a
Yeah,
nice
they
drive.
drove
and
right down the field.
Everything
Yeah,
caved
yeah,
in after that.
yeah, and then they were deflated after that. The quarterback went to crap, and then everything went to crap. But they came right down the field and drove that opening drive, and then everything else was crap after that. Now, last year, Minnesota was all the quarterback. All the quarterback.
But like
I
they
know
say,
Chief doesn't like to blame just the quarterback. You don't like it when I blame the quarterback, but so much is
No,
on the quarterback.
you can blame the quarterback you want, but not every single game that they lost was about the quarterback. The Giants. It wasn't about the quarterback.
No, you're right. It wasn't.
No. Last year, about 5 or 6 was on the quarterback.
Could have been. Could have been. I wasn't,
Easily
I
last
wasn't
year.
taking
But yeah,
notes, but yeah.
yeah. All right. So my next
You're
one,
bringing
let's
the
bring up.
grumpy old man vibes this week. Yeah, you got
Right.
it, Cole. You
He's
got
get
it.
off my
Cole.
lawn tonight. He's get off my lawn. It's past his bedtime. He's not used to being up this late. Bring up the Jennings. Nope.
I think that was he was speaking on Thibodeau,
Nope.
right?
No,
Oh,
yeah.
don't get me started with
Right.
him.
No,
we-
he was speaking on Carter.
Oh, on car. Oh, that's right. Okay, that's right.
Yeah,
Hold
yeah.
on, hold on.
We gotta leave KT for
We
last.
can talk
Yeah,
about
that's
Thibodeau if you
crucial.
want. You guys want to
We're
talk
gonna.
about it?
That's the next one. Well, we can do it now because Chris didn't find
No,
it.
that's
so
all right.
fine.
No, that's all right. Let me bring it up. Hang on one second.
Yes, I am being nice, James. I said 5 to 6, but you're right. There's more. I'm glad Cole and James both agree with me.
That's fine.
Hang on.
Well, I can talk about what you bring it. There we go. All right. So Rashad Jennings was on Good Morning Football, I believe, this morning. He was talking about like the optimism and stuff. But one of the things that he brought up, which I thought was, and I've said this a couple times, and again, it goes back to what I was saying earlier. There's just certain guys, no matter where it is, like OTAs, practice, whatever it is, there are certain guys that when they get on the field, they just stand out. They're different than other people's. And that's exactly what Rashad Jennings said today about Abdul Carter. He just moves at a different speed than everybody else. Now, I want to say this. I want to be 100% clear. I am not saying Abdul Carter is this player, but there are players, when they got on the field, other players were just like, that dude is different. LT, when he came into the league, players were all like, what was it? Brian Kelly said, I know I'm losing my job. Like, he's taking my spot, right? And then Harry Carson was like, yeah, he's just out there moving different, right? OBJ, when he came in, people were like, he's just moving at a different speed. Players like, he's just special. There's something different. And they're saying about Abdul Carter. And the difference is, I get people say certain things about OTA, but what they're saying about him is not that he looks better, he's this. He's moving differently at a different speed than other players that are on the field. Other players that include Brian Burns, Thibodeau, whoever else is out there right now. And that's the thing that I think people have to realize is we could be looking at something very special with Abdul Carter. Whether or not he does it, I don't know. But when you hear enough people, and I watch some of the clips, and you can just tell he's in a different gear than a lot of other people out there. with quickness, speed, all of that. So we could be looking at something potentially very special with Abdul Carter. And not to put the pressure on the expectations, but that's what stood out to me, that Rashad Jennings was like, he's moving at a different speed than other guys that are out there. And that's something you got to pay attention to. Regardless of anything else, you have to pay attention that he's just moving different at a different speed. So I'm excited about what Abdul Carter can do. I think he can be a difference maker, but again, just people understanding and fans to understand what that means when somebody says they're moving at a different gear, instead of downplaying it. Oh, it's only OTAs. It's not what they're saying. He's moving at a different gear. So when you're moving at a different gear than other NFL players that are the top 1%, that is huge. And that's what I want fans to understand.
Yeah, great points.
Well, yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you, Sean. The Carter is a unique specimen. I mean, I had him number one on my board for a long time doing a draft show, and that's the guy I wanted for them to pick, and thank God they got him. I was worried in draft when that trade happened. I thought the number 2 pick was going to be Carter, but they took the other kid, Hunter.
They traded, yeah.
Yeah, the trade, right? Thank goodness. Yeah, this kid's going to be special. I said like he's the give the Giants a second chance because they missed out on Micah Parsons, a few years back, and they made that mistake. And this is their chance to atone for it. And I think he's going to show New York Giant fans, bring back memories a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. And let's not forget, I know it's college, but he went into a playoff game and dominated with one arm. Like
That's
literally
true.
dominated with one arm. Yeah. I mean, that's special right there. I'm sorry. That's special. And I don't throw words out like that very often. Like that is when you can do that and you can dominate another college team with one arm, there's something special about that.
A good college team. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. In the age where guys don't care about bowl games as much and they're ready for the combine and they get drafted, that showed me so much. There's a guy, God forbid he blew out his knee or shoulder. Now he drops to the 5th, 6th round after surgery. To risk that for a bowl game, that's a future captain of the New York Giants right there.
That's old school, Chris.
He's going to be a future captain, no doubt in my mind. That's what Alita does right there.
Yep, I agree. So before we get to my third topic, I'm gonna call an audible here, and then after the third topic, we're gonna do, because we got some guys in the chat putting up some good questions and stuff. So I'm gonna give you guys a chance to think about this before I start talking about the third topic. Is we're gonna do a quick thing. We're gonna roll out something called Joker's Justice. So I want you guys to have a question. It could be controversial, it can whatever it be. I'm gonna react to it. I'm gonna answer it. Truth and Chris, you can say yay or nay if I'm right or wrong, or if you agree or disagree, whatever you want. But I want a good question. I want something that can be off the wall if you want, and we're going to do Joker's Justice, and that's what we're going to do. So, guys in the comments, guys checking out, that's what we'll do here in a minute. But we're going to go to my third topic. So I'm giving you prepared, so now you know Joker's Justice is coming. All right, Chris, roll out topic number 3.
So topic 3, we have Kayvon Thibodeau's new moves that have been put out there.
Yeah, the video out today, KT was working on a spin move. Because how many times does King talk about he's got 2 moves and that's it, maybe 1. So he's rolling out a spin move. And here's why I think he's doing it. Number 1, he's year 4. And I've said a number of times that year 4 was a year where a lot of guys made that jump, right? He gets better, he gets better, he gets better. Dexter made that jump year 4. The Abdul Carter effect for Thibodeau understands he's got to up his game now, because Abdul Carter is being talked about left and right. Brian Burns is being talked about left and right. Thibodeau is under criticism. Thibodeau he's a cerebral player, and that doesn't sit well with Giants fans because he's not aggressive. He's not that nastiness. I like the fact that he's out there working on a new move. It says he's not satisfied with just what he's doing before. He wants to get better. Hopefully he puts it in there. But the spin move actually looked really good. I don't know if a lot of you guys saw it, but it actually looked pretty good. So that really stood out. So if KT can improve and he can be good, holy cow, that's just going to make our defense that much better now when you got him, Burns, and Carter doing what they're doing. So I think those guys the 3 of them are going to push each other. It's kind of like, again, I'm not comparing them, but we know how Carson, Banks, and Taylor all pushed each other to be the best they could be. That's what you needed. You need that trifecta, that three-headed monster to push, and the linebackers, because we know Dex is a monster. We know he's going to be a Hall of Famer, all of that, right? But the linebacking core, you need that three-headed monster. And I think that's what we're going to see. And if what KT did in that video is proof, and he's going to work on other things, we could see some really good things this year. What do you guys think?
Go ahead.
Yeah, Chris.
Okay. Yeah, I think one of the biggest factors with Thibodeau is they picked up that fifth-year option. So you have him for this year and you have him for 26. He's going to want to earn that second contract, right? I mean, that second contract is the big one. So he wants to put that work in, like you just said, Sean. The competition with Carter is huge. That competition breeds the best out of everybody. But I think the fact that he's got 2 years to earn that second contract, I mean, really earn that second contract like a first-round pick, I think that's a big motivation for him, too. I think it's on both ends. It's a money end, and we know that with Thibodeau, that's a big factor with the branding. But also, Carter coming in here, it just makes sense. It's no different than any of us on a job, right? They bring in a guy from another company. He's the big guy, and now guess what? Your game has to pick up, or you're getting overlooked and maybe out of a job. So no different than any of us with our normal, daily life and whatever we do. So I think that's big. It's good. It's a good thing.
I agree. I think Kayvon gets too much hate. I think he's because we expected him. A lot of fans expected him to be Micah Parsons. He's not Micah Parsons. He's not the same type of player. So people are harder on than maybe they should be. I think he's better at things than people realize. The problem is that at times he's just not like, and I said this a couple weeks ago, or maybe even last week, is he's better against the run than people realize. But what he does is he just does his assignment. He doesn't make that extra play. Like there's times where he sets the edge, but the running back cuts inside. But instead of making the tackle, he just lets somebody else make that tackle. That's where I want to see him take that next step is, okay, you do your job, but now make the play also. It's not like he's getting beat. It's not like he can't do it. He's just not, he's not making that play. Yeah, he's not finishing. He's doing his assignment. And I wonder how much of that has to do with guys behind him or anything else. So that's when I say when he's cerebral, that's what I mean. He thinks a lot. He understands his assignment. He does his assignment. Now I need him to play a little more loose.
Yeah. And Sean, if he was a third or fourth round pick, that'd be acceptable. You'd have no problem with that. But like the fact that he's a first round pick, you expect more. And I think that's what it is. We expect more as a top 10 pick.
Yep. I agree. Now, again, it looks like he put on some more muscle this offseason, too. People are commenting he's a little thicker in the chest, which can help him, where he needs to be. But the other thing I remember, too, is a lot of times he's dropping in coverage. Like he is, again, we're in a 3-4, and I think not people here now, there's a lot of Giant fans in Twitter land that think that he's rushing all the time, and he's not. They're dropping him in coverage. They're dropping Burns in coverage. And I think that's what people forget. We're not in a 4-3 front. We're in a 3-4, which means that outside linebacker drops in coverage. I don't know what the percentage was. Somebody can look that up or tell me, but you have to do that. And I do expect more of him. But again, you'll say, oh, well, he had 11.5 sacks. Oh, yeah, he only had it against a couple teams. Do you know how many good players dominate against bad teams or bad offensive tackles? That's what happens. You're not going to get a sack every single game, right? Like how many guys in the league do that? It just doesn't work that way anymore. Quarterbacks are getting the ball rather. So I think that, does he need to show me more? Absolutely, he needs to show me more. But he's not as bad as people are saying. I just think people had much higher expectations, and he's injured too. Remember that. Like some of his numbers and the stats had to do because he's missing games. That's my biggest concern with Thibodeau and my biggest gripe is that he's got to stay on the field. He's got to stay healthy. He can't be missing games.
Well, that's perfect for me to lead into this one. I'm not as big as a fan as you are about Thibodeau. He's definitely on notice this year. And like you said, he knows he's got Carter knocking on his door. So look, I know he's going to work hard. I know he's going to put effort in to try to get better, but will it translate on the football field? He's not a finisher, like you said, and that's a big one for him. He's got to be a finisher because we do have high expectations for him, Shawnee, because he was a 5th overall pick. 5th overall picks got to produce by the end of their rookie contract. They have to, or else it's a failed pick for the Giants. sometimes he does takes plays off. He does. If you just watch him play exclusively. He does not, like, how many times you see him making a tackle from behind? I don't see that with him. He doesn't pursue well. He gives up on plays. So I just want to see a different mindset from him this year because, his Giants career is based on what he does this year, I think. So we'll see what he does.
Agreed. He's got to be better this year. No doubt about it.
He'll have one
I
more
think he
year,
will.
Regardless, he'll have one more year next year. So
Yeah.
two more. But next year is really the big year because that's that contract year. So we'll see.
Well, this year could be Chris, because they may trade him in the offseason. They won't even wait for next year.
That's a good point. Yeah, good. Yeah. Yeah,
I think they're hiring him than we are as Giants. I think the staff is. We'll see what he does. I think he does a lot more than people. This is a big year for him.
I
think he does a lot more than people. I get it. He's the number 5 pick, but I think he does more than people realize. He finishes on some things. The problem again is it's not that he's not finishing the play. It's he's doing his assignment, and then he's letting somebody else make the play.
Yeah, but I see it a lot.
I think there's games where he goes invisible.
I get it.
He's got to be a playmaker. I hate looking at his stat line. He got 8 sacks and only 25 tackles for 16 games. I mean, that's unacceptable. He's got to have more tackles. He can't just be a guy who could sack a quarterback. He has to do better.
See it this year. Agreed. I think we'll see it this year, though. I do. Like I said, when people say he can't play the run, he can play the run. He absolutely can play the run. He does his job. He sets the edge. He doesn't let a guy outside of him. He does not. You see it all the time. The running back just cuts it back up, and then somebody else makes the tackle because he's making sure that he doesn't get beat to the outside, and then he watches the other guy make the tackle. So we're just used to, or we want somebody that plays a little loose there, and he is assignment football. And again, that's why I keep saying he's cerebral. He's assignment football. Does he play? Sure, he takes a couple playoffs. Does a lot of players take some playoffs? Absolutely. I'm not as concerned about him not trailing the play because, again, he's assignment based. So I don't know how many guys on the team are trailing, or making plays and things. It just depends what our expectations, what we see to make him. Mm-hmm. I think he gets more hate than he should be getting. Is he as good as we want him to be? No, but he's better than what he's getting credit for. That's my thing. He may make me eat my words, and if he does, so be it. I'll own it. You guys can go back and tell me. But he's definitely better than what people get him credit for. He's not awful. People treat him like he's awful.
No, he's not. He's much not better. Awful, but being a 5th overall pick doesn't do him any doesn't help him out when fans watch him play and they see sometimes the effort not put in. I think that's the biggest thing with Giant fans. They see that, they know he was a 5th overall pick. If he was a like Chris said, a day 2 pick, we wouldn't have this kind of maybe unjust hate for him, like you're saying.
Yes,
you might have a point there, but the fact is, he's a 5th overall pick. He's got to do better.
Yeah,
I think there's moments where he just goes invisible too. It'd be one thing if it was steady, okay, good play. But I think it goes the pendulum swings so far on those great games, and then there's a lot of those games where, God, I didn't even know if he made a tackle today. I didn't really see much. Did he play? And then you look at the snap count, like, wow, I didn't see him do anything. But then you get games where he kind of plays all right. But I think there's a few of those games where you don't even notice him. And I think as a 5th,
that's a bad thing.
You want to notice the guy, whether he's taking on blocks and letting somebody else make the play, you just want to notice him. And I feel like there are games where he goes on.
For some plays, if you don't notice them, that's a good thing,
on the offensive line.
Right, the offensive line, right.
Yeah.
I think, but here's the thing, though. I think he makes more plays than people realize, too, and he should be noticed. Again, it just depends on what people are looking for there. But because if you watch, Chris, I know you're there live, but you watch the broadcast, his name's talked about a lot on the broadcast, making plays, doing this, doing that.
It is.
It's different when you're there.
Yeah, I know, but there are games where I feel like you don't see much. But
just look at the stat line.
But no, I'm with you, Sean. I do believe he's going to have a very good year this year because of that competition with Carter.
He's right, and he's year 4 again.
Are you seeing double sacks in him?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, he had 11.5 in a defense that wasn't known for edge rushers having sacks.
Are you going to see him be more active in tackles than he has been, averaging only 20-something a year? You going to see more than that? with
I
him?
believe so because there's going to be too many eyes on the other players too to watch. So you can't
Okay.
all focus on Thibodeau and Burns.
Is that
Now
how
you're
many
adding another guy to that.
how many total tackles did he have last year?
I have to look, but I guarantee it was
And then
probably
look
like
and
probably
pull
like
up
2 a
Burns,
game.
see what Burns
Less than
had
2
too.
a game. Someone look it up. Do the last 2 years.
Yeah, look, just do last year. Compare Burns, and I don't know how many games well, that's the other thing though too is Thibodeau's missed he made 5 games his rookie year. He missed how many games his second year, and then how many games he missed last year. So those stats are a little misleading. You got to look at the games he played and then what those stats are in games. And listen, there are games where a lot of people get shut down by good linemen.
Well, of course,
TJ Watt
you're
gets
right.
shut
That's gonna
down by
happen.
good linemen.
That's gonna
And
happen.
I'm not saying Tibbs is TJ Watt. Let me be clear. But people just expect to dominate against everybody. No, even the best people get shut down. Hell, even LT got shut down by was it Jackie Slater back in the day? There was a couple of guys that had his number back in the day.
Yeah, I had 28 tackles last year.
And how many
How many
games?
games,
Yeah.
Chris?
And that was in 12 games.
That's 2 a
12
game.
games. So
Over
it's a
2
little
a game.
over 2.5 a game.
How many did Burns have? Is that solo tackles, Chris?
Solo was 14, 28 total.
Okay, so 20 total, 14 solo. Yeah, how many did Burns have?
Yeah, look it up. Hang on.
It's 2 tackles a game.
Yeah,
Over 2 tackles a game.
42 solo tackles
Okay.
last year. 42 solo. Let's see what the combination was.
How many games? So all 17, right? Wait, Tibbs was in 14 games last year?
I thought I said 12. Was it 12 games for him?
Cold got it. He had 71 total. Yeah, Tibbs
Burns.
didn't play in Burns, sorry. Tibbs played in 14 games last year? No.
12, he said.
12. I said 12.
12.
I thought I said
12, yeah. All right.
Yeah, 17.
So-
Yeah, you can't
Hey,
compare
listen, Brian
Tibbs
Burns
to
had injury, man. His shoulder, he was banged up too.
Right. So
Yeah.
prorate those 28 over 12 games, prorate out another 5 games. Right? So 2.5.
yeah.
So it's 38 if he averages it. 38.
And I'm looking
38.
at tackles
Yeah.
for loss. I mean, that's a big stat that goes sometimes under the radar, but not like with
You can't
guys like
compare
us.
Tibbs and Burns. I mean, they're 2 different
No,
animals.
Burns is a different type of player. He's
Hey,
got
Burns,
Yeah.
17 tackles for loss. Pretty damn good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's
Burns
one per game.
Burns by far is a far better pass rusher than Tibbs is, without a doubt. It's night and day.
Well, he's a
right
better
now.
player. Better player.
Well, yeah, he's faster. He's faster off the ball. He's a different player. Because again, Burns is a true outside linebacker. Tibbs is a 4-3 defensive end playing a 3-4 outside linebacker.
Mhm.
And I know people don't agree with me, but I do believe if you moved him down if he was in a 4-3 as an edge, he would be better than as he is now. I do
Okay.
believe that. I
I don't think he has enough girth to handle big tackles to do that. Big guards on pulling guards.
I think he can handle. It's the speed. You don't need the size always with that because a lot of guys now on the edge are lighter.
That's true. All right.
So
He had eight
with
tackles
that
for
there.
loss, Thibodeau, last year. 17 quarterback hits. It's not bad. 17 hits.
Yeah, how many sacks did he have? You have
Last
that up?
year, he had a. I thought he had 11 and a half the year before. Last year, he only had 5. Is that right? 5.5 last year?
Hey, pull up third from the bottom, James. He's
The
watching
play
the
is
same
on the
thing
other
I'm
side.
watching.
That one?
Yep.
I mean, I don't know. I watch those things when I watch a football game. I want to see guys pursue, see if they don't give up on plays. I do the same thing when I look at when I do the draft. I look at film like that. I want to see guys pursue, don't give up on a play. I want to see a running back like Scatterbo who doesn't give up when he gets hit.
Is he giving up or is he keeping his lane? Like, making sure the cutback. Like, there's a difference. You can't over pursue.
No,
So
I think I'm talking about after the guy crosses the line of scrimmage, the running back pursuing. I'm
Okay.
not saying like reverse. He's got to stay where he is. You're right.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, we'll see. Like I said,
right.
Tibbs had 5.5 in 12 games. Burns had 8.5 in 17 games. So again,
And Burns gets more notice than Thibodeau too. You got to consider that too.
that's what I'm
He
saying. So
also
again,
fought.
he had 3 less sacks than Burns and in 5 less games. So it's
Yeah,
not
but
like
again,
guys,
he gets more attention than Thibodeau would get.
Burns isn't getting double teamed as much because Dex is getting all the double teams.
And the
On the
plays
inside,
behind the line of scrimmage.
Double
That's
team. I'm
huge.
talking about
The tackles for
Burns
loss.
on the outside.
The tackles for loss are huge. Really, 17. That's
Well, Burns is quicker. Burns is a better player. Absolutely, he's quicker, I think, but he's also older too. He's what, 7 years, 6 years, 7 years? How many years has been in the league now?
Well, he came in the same year as Dexter,
28,
right?
29,
Same
yeah.
draft,
29.
2019.
Okay, yeah. So that's a
And
big
what was
difference.
Thibodeau?
Like I
What
said,
draft was Thibodeau in?
This is year
it
4.
was 3. This is year 4. He came in with Neil. So
Was it
year
21
4
or
is
22?
21,
22.
22, 3, 4.
22.
All right, so
22.
3 years.
21, 22.
3 years.
No, yeah, 22.
His first season was the 22 season. So yeah. So again, people, I'll keep saying this, and I'm not saying Dexter and Tibbs are the same player, but it took Dexter. You saw improvement in year 3, which you saw some improvement in Tibbs last year. Dex took off in year 4, is when he took off. And in year 5.
Yeah. And the biggest thing with Dexter, if you remember, they moved him to the nose tackle before he played on the end.
And when Andre Patterson came over from Minnesota, his whole game changed, being up front against the nose.
Yeah,
exactly. And I'll be curious to see now with the new linebacker coach they brought in this year. We'll see if that helps Thibodeau as well. But again, some guys just take longer. I get he's the number 5 pick, but even some guys just take a little longer. And it's not like he's been bad. He has been awful.
No,
you get 11 and a half sacks.
No. And you know what, Sean? To your point, if he was that bad, they would not pick up that 5th-year option. They didn't pick it up on Evan Neal. The fact that they picked it up tells you that, you know what, there is something there that they think they could still work with for another year.
Absolutely. But we expect to.
I'm not saying he's bad. If I'm coming across that way, I don't mean he's bad. I'm just.
But as a top 5 pick, expected more.
More disappointed.
I'm with you on that.
Again.
An impact. I expected more of an impact. Hey, we always think about that Washington game on Monday night or Sunday night when he played balls out, interceptions, tackles. Man, that was like, wow, this guy's arrived. That's kind of what you want. You're not going to get that every game.
Now here's Cole. I'm going to give Cole the hard time. Those 11 and a half sacks were impactful. Oh my goodness. See, we moved goalposts now for sacks. They weren't impactful. Oh my goodness. I think one won a game, if I'm not mistaken, right? At least 1 or 2 won a game. 2 sealed the game.
The Baltimore Ravens on Lamar Jackson, and the Washington game.
The Washington game. Was there a Jacksonville game too?
Maybe another one, but Lamar Jackson was a big one at the end of that game. That was 2 years ago.
That's pretty impactful.
That was a big game.
Pretty damn impactful.
That was a big game.
Yeah. So let's not say they're not impactful sacks.
But you wanted to see more of those type of games.
People love to hate. He only gets it against bad O linemen. Yeah, guys dominate against bad O linemen. That's what happens. Guys get shut down against really good O linemen. That's the way it works. That's the way it works, people.
Hey, Chris, third from the bottom. Look what Grandside said about me. It's pretty funny.
Mike is still getting off my lawn and turned down your
right. I had to dish out some Joker's justice.
That's a good one.
There.
I like it.
All right, should we move on, boys?
Yeah. We'll end with this. We'll see how it goes. All right. So you guys had time to think. I doled out a little Joker's justice to Cold there a minute ago. So what we got? What questions we got? What we got out? I'm gonna dole out some Joker's justice. So let's see. Probably nobody have nothing because they're like, oh yeah, we're not gonna let Joker have his segment.
How about we address that one question you saw it, Sean, about the toe injury? Should we be concerned with the neighbor's toe?
Our neighbors?
Who's had back in college? He's kind of still.
Should not. Nope. Should not be concerned about it. They're just being extra cautious right now. Extra careful.
I think so too.
No reason to do it. I don't think we should. They're not concerned. I'm not concerned. Nope. We don't have to worry about it. Good question to bring up, but no, we don't need to be concerned about it.
Yeah, that was by the professor.
How about this, Sean? On offensive side of the ball, what group, if you had right now, add a player? I'm not saying add a certain player, just a position.
Right.
What would you like to see improved? The wide receivers, the line. If you had to do it right now, without even thinking about a player, just by getting more talent.
I would add. I would like to see another receiver. I know we added a lot of receivers in the offseason. Maybe Slayton will step up, do a little bit more, but I would like to see another receiver, another solid vet guy who's produced. That's what I would like to see on the receiver side.
Okay.
I think second might be a linebacker, but again, I think Darius Muasau is going to play a little better. And then I forgot his name again last time, who got injured last year.
Johnson?
Yeah, was that Johnson?
Yeah.
He was doing really well. I think he's another guy to keep an eye on this year.
Johnson,
Deontay Johnson, Darius Muasau, I think are guys that are going to be good on the depth. But I wouldn't mind seeing another guy added there as well.
So are you in favor of, I see a lot of chat in Twitter or X, are you in favor of bringing OBJ back?
No, dude's washed. God, no. And I'm a huge OBJ
I'm not
fan.
in favor. It's a question.
Yeah,
there's no traction with that. Is there? Is that just
he said it at the Fan Fest, and fans like,
oh, I love hate thing with the Giants.
Yeah, because he's like, oh, I got you. Somebody said, oh, sign with the Giants. He's like, I got you. I mean, OBJ knows how to placate the fans. He knows what doing. And I got nothing against OBJ. I loved him when he was here. It was great. But again, he said what he said on that interview with Lil Wayne and all that. And he did it to himself, right? Yeah. But he is washed. He's washed. He couldn't do anything in Miami. Like zero in Miami.
I do wonder, not saying Giants, with injuries, if he does end up with somebody during the season. Or is this it for him? Is he, totally done?
I know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got a couple questions here. All right. You want to pop it up, Chris? You got Grandis here, and then James after that.
Which
third from the top, bottom.
Third from the bottom.
Third from the bottom.
You got. Oh, I can bring it up. That's fine.
Okay.
I'll do it.
Yeah, because third from the bottom, I have. We love you, Mike.
All right, Chris, you can read it. How about that?
Yeah, that's fine. All right, so it's from Grandis 12. Yeah, I think I can handle the reading. I know Cold is waiting for you to muff up some words here.
Right.
He's always making
I know, right?
Joker, how do you see the pass rush unit of the Giants in 2025 being ranked at? Top 5, top 10, top 20, other?
I think top 10. I could they have a chance to be top 5? Potentially, yes, but I think top 10 for sure. Again, they were leading the league in sacks last year before all the injuries, and now you added some new guys. I think they can be a top 10 unit. Absolutely.
I agree with
but
that.
An outside chance to be top 5. I would not be surprised if they could be top 5. Especially now when you have an offense that can stay on the field and keep them rested. I'm saying top 10 with a shot to be top 5. Good question.
Very good question.
And y'all can hold on to these and keep it later on after the season and
I'm sure they
whatever
will.
you need to do. Yeah, absolutely. I'll take my L's. I take a lot of W's, but I don't mind taking my L's.
There's a good one interesting one by James. Next one.
Yep. Actually, before you put that one up, hold on. I'm going to put a comment he put up because absolutely. See, the Lil Wayne interview with Josina Anderson was terrible. You knew he was going to get traded once you watched that interview. No
cringe.
Doubt about it.
Yeah, it was a bit cringe. Yeah.
Yep. All right.
All right. This one comes from James. Question: should we trade Kayvon if he has a good year instead of pouring money on one side of the ball?
So, James, you're my guy. But you're out your mind if you think that we should trade Kevin. Who are you going to trade him for? What are you going to get in return? Who do you want in return to trade him for? No. Keep putting money on the one side of the ball. Have that identity. Have a good defense. Defense is so much needed. And you can never have too many pass rushers. Ernie Accorsi said it. I stick with it. You can never have too many pass rushers. In a league the way it is set up right now, don't get rid of good guys. Keep your talent. Guys flipped out when we let Barkley go, which I can't believe I said his name because I don't say his name much. Guys slipped out when we let McKinney go. Guys slipped out when we let Julian Love go. And now we want to trade Kayvon Thibodeau if he has a good. No, he's going to earn it. If he's going to get paid, let him do it. Let him do what he needs to do. Have that pass rush. Don't trade guys. Keep guys here. There's like there used to be guys that talk about trading Dexter Lawrence and get a haul for Dexter Lawrence. You don't trade a Hall of Fame player when he's in the prime of his career. So no. James, you're my guy, but no, Joker's justice. No, you do not trade Kayvon Thibodeau.
Look at Cole's response to what you said, Joker. Not against you, but a little twist into that. Can you find it?
Where?
About the linebacker?
Scroll. I'm trying to see where. I think it's a little bit below that question. Cole made a comment.
Defense attorney one.
He says, I won't be surprised, James,
Oh.
if Kayvon has a good year, they could get off on Burns. That's an interesting twist.
I don't know.
Another one. Why we gotta keep getting rid of guys?
Because don't forget, Cold, you're only getting Thibodeau for one more year, and then he's going to be a free agent. He's going to want to test that market, and if he has a great year next year, he's going to get a ton.
Yeah, we just signed Burns to a big deal.
Yeah.
He's an impact maker, difference maker. No, we're not getting rid of guys. We're keeping guys. Keep the talent. Keep good
We're trying to
talent.
make a strong playoff run.
There's no reason
next
why
year.
we can't have control the cap like the way the Eagles do, for God's sakes.
But I believe
Yeah,
next
and
year they're
the
going to
Eagles.
have close to $100 million next year.
Yeah, they're going to have a ton of cap room. They got ahead of the Thomas extension. They got ahead of the Dexter Lawrence extension.
Jones will be off the books.
For the market.
Waller's
Yeah.
off the books.
Yeah.
So there'll be some
They're
money next
they're
year.
doing it. They're doing it the right way. Shane's doing it the right way. You got guys. Keep guys. There's no more getting rid of guys, trading guys for this, for that. No. We don't need to
Hopefully
trade
they want to
quarterback
stay.
now because we got a quarterback.
Hopefully they want to
Well,
stay.
Burns is how many more years he got in his contract? So no, we're not. We are not trading guys. We're not trading guys. We're not getting rid of people.
Yeah,
Well, listen, they're coming strong. They're coming strong with the questions. There's
Yeah, another
justice
one?
being shelled out here tonight. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. An intimidating.
I will say
outside
this though,
linebacker.
Sean.
Yeah, go ahead.
I wouldn't mind if we got some kind of like real impact inside linebacker, younger, Karake. Like that I wouldn't mind. If we got somebody
I mean,
younger, be it the draft or
I just think if you get rid of Karake, it's going to have the same impact that when guys got rid of other vets in the locker room before.
I'm not saying this year, I'm saying probably after
Oh.
next year. After next year, I'm thinking.
So,
Going to 227.
because how old is he going to be after next year? He's still
31. Chris, you know these guys.
I think he's around 30, but I'd have to look it up.
Yeah, I think you play him out for his contract. You let a guy like Mewis out, or
Did he play with what's his name? Paulson from Stanford?
yeah, him and yeah,
Right.
so Karake and Adebo. So is Holland and Thibodeau are teammates. Which, by the way, just going back to KT real quick, don't underestimate the value of having his former college teammate on the team now too for KT. The same way I think it's going to help Okereke and Adebo. I think Holland is going to have a major. Well, I shouldn't say major. Let me back that up. He's going to have a positive impact on KT. I do think that as well. So those are good things there. Yeah, Karake's 28. So no, we got him for another couple of years. You can draft a
that's
guy.
what I'm saying. After next year.
Let his contract. No. You keep him. You play through his contract. I
mean, let's
Right, we
make a
got-
run next year. You got all that money to play with, and I mean, it's be interesting to see with Dart. But I'll tell you, next year I'm looking hopefully for a real strong playoff run.
Yeah, you add a guy, or if you add an offensive lineman in the
could be it,
offseason, with that money, whatever. All right, we'll do one more question. We got time for one more question?
Yeah, one more, and we're right up at 9
Okay.
o'clock. Yeah, 9:05. So let's do it.
All right. So you got Grandis here right there. So what do we got?
From Granizer, Joker, which 2025 Giants to you are in the doghouse already? Already in the doghouse.
Right.
We haven't
In
had
the
training
doghouse.
camp yet. Granizer, they're already in. This is their last chance. Well, we've named a few to make the roster. These players have to have a good camp to be on the 53. Good stuff, though. Yeah, there's some borderline players. I got a couple of them.
Well, yeah.
Go
So
ahead, Joker.
I think he's still on the roster. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Eric Gray, I think he's going to be out.
think
So
he's out.
I think he's out.
Yeah.
Isn't
Josh
Cano still on the roster?
Who?
Graham Cano?
Graham Gano, the kicker.
Yeah, he's the only.
Yeah, he's still on the roster.
He's going to be
You
on the
think
team.
you think he has a you don't think they'll think about getting rid of him?
I think they would have
Yeah,
made
they'll-
the move already.
Okay.
Yeah, they may bring in somebody to camp maybe later on, but no, they like they're not going to do that to him. But I think Azudu, I think Eric Gray,
How about Bryce
You
Ford
think-
Wheaton with the
Bryce Ford Mean. I mean, we're not talking major guys.
Well, he's a
No.
special teamer, right? He's
Right,
pretty
but you're going to
good
need
gunner,
that
right?
spot.
Yeah.
You're going to get one of these rookies, these undrafted receivers, maybe to
Yeah.
take that spot.
Yeah, like Bo Collins, who's been
Yeah.
really stepping up and doing well at camp. Dart's teammate there, what's his name? Juice Wells, right? Was that his name?
Right.
So you have guys. So I think so the guys that aren't big names, Now, the one guy here's the other guy that I'll bring up, and we'll kind of end with this, is when we talk about competition, Deonte Banks, I think, is feeling the pressure of the competitions coming up because he's doing some things that you haven't seen him do before. He cut the hair off. He cut his hair off.
Yeah.
So I think he's realizing he may feel like he's in a doghouse, and he may be needing to do it now in year 3 to show he can be that CB2. So to that question, maybe Deonte Banks is the guy who's feeling it. It may not be.
Do you think he will?
Yeah, I think he'll step it up this year. I do. Like if Flott's pushing him, which I think Flott can. I know people like to hate on Flott, but he's done some good things. And I think the fact that he's not CB1, I think will help him. I think he understands what happened last year. I feel like he looks like it's same way Hyatt's doing the same thing. I think these guys are taking on a whole new approach because they realize there's more competition now for their jobs.
You think that perhaps that he needs to, it's up to him. He needs to adjust to Bowen's system, not the other way around.
Exactly. Because first of all, it's not like he's got to adjust to Bowen's system, and you're not going to adjust your system for one guy. Now, I think they're going to play more this year because Debo plays now, but you're not going to adjust your whole defense because of Deonte Banks. Who the hell is Deonte Banks? You adjust your system for Dexter Lawrence. You adjust your system for Brian Burns. Hell yeah. Right? But I think they are going to play more man this year because Debo's good in man. You have things like that. But yeah, Banks has got to learn how to play zone. He's got to understand it. But I do think that the new secondary coaches are now going to coach these guys to turn their head for the ball. And I think that's going to make a big difference for Deonte Banks. I really do. I think everybody, and that's going to help with turnovers as well. And the last I'll say here, Joker's justice. The turnover booty chest. The turnover booty chest. Not the treasure chest. It's the booty chest is here to stay. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's the booty chest, not the treasure chest. So it's trademark here. The booty chest. Everybody say it with me. The booty chest. Oh, wait. Something else up here?
And it's a 4-year deal, Golston has, so he'll be here for a while, Sean.
4 years? I thought it was 3.
No, it's a 4-year deal.
4-year deal.
Oh, wait. No, it is. It is. I'm sorry. It is a 3-year deal.
3-year deal. Yep.
Yeah, he's played for
perfect.
4 years.
You
3-year
go
deal.
there.
Yeah, he'll be here for a while. Good call, Mike. Yep.
18
$18 million
over
3 years.
Golston's going to be another guy. He's the Aziz, but the better Aziz because he can play the run.
Yeah,
that's just going to push guys.
And you're only paying him a little over $2 million this year and $5 million next year, so not bad at all. It's pretty good.
Yes. So, well, awesome show here tonight, guys. We appreciate you in the comments. Truth, awesome job. Way to bring some great questions, Chris. Way to bring up camp, all that. I just do want to say one thing. It's my father's birthday today, so I don't know if he's watching or not. He's probably out celebrating. But happy birthday to the old man, Papa Joker. Happy birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Sean's dad. Awesome, man. Does he actually watch the show? I hope so. Right?
Oh, he does. Yeah, every week.
Awesome. Very good.
He watches every week.
Well,
he's a big fan of the show.
Fantastic, man.
He's watching. So, So, great job tonight, guys. We appreciate everybody tuning in, being with us. We'll be back next week as well. We'll have some more fun stuff to talk about. But, Chris, Truth, pleasure. The old guys rock
great
tonight.
That's right.